come on in to the pre-show before the free show. It is stupid cold in here today.
Yeah, and I got bad news for you.
Like, really,
it's gonna get colder.
Really cold.
It's gonna get colder like this weekend or like this week.
No, it's this week.
Like tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's supposed to blow in tomorrow night, but the real nastiness comes on Wednesday, I think. Like, the low is like 12.
See, here's the thing, and this is...
Which I'm fine with outside, but it doesn't need to be 12 degrees inside.
So, Hank's off school today, because it's President's Day.
Solid. It's a federal holiday.
Do you know that dude has had one 5-day week this year? One.
Man, I'm jealous. I want to be Hank.
He has, because of snow days, and because of holidays, and because of... Like, this dude, he's never at school. Go to school, learn something. Hello, everybody.
Don't.
Welcome to the pre-show before the pre-show. Dateline. Omaha, Nebraska.
Baseball.
Let me tell you a story about a real estate agent in Omaha, Nebraska named Kim Doggett. Okay. Kim Doggett. Earlier in the evening, she asked her son, I'm going to try to do this I don't want to give away the story, so I'm going to try to do this in a narrative fashion. Asked her son to take their homemade peanut butter balls outside on the deck. Their refrigerator is full. We've all been there, right? Perhaps you have a case of beverages, but it's a cold, but the fridge is full. But hey, it's cold outside. It's good enough for us, right? So we just ran out of room, Doggett said. And in the wintertime, it works out great because you don't have to try to slam everything in anywhere. You set things on the back deck. We've all been there. Upon opening the door, her son quickly shut it and refused to go back out. Quote, "There's a possum on your couch," Hayden Doggett, 22, told her mom. His mom didn't believe her at first. "I really thought he was messing with me, so I went over and I turned on the light and I opened the door and I said, 'Oh my,'" Kim Doggett said. And then I was like, "Oh, it ate the Costco cake. The whole thing almost was sitting on the ground next to the couch." What I'm here to tell you is that this possum hopped onto a porch, a back patio, a hungry possum who ate the entire tuxedo chocolate mousse cake she had recently bought from Costco.
Let's go.
Kim Doggett walked outside last Sunday to find her chocolate cake on the floor of her back porch, brown paw prints in her new beige couch, and a panting possum lying on top of it. Now, fans have flooded Nebraska Wildlife Rehab, where the possum was admitted on February 10th, with messages of support for the viral cake bandit who ate an entire Costco cake. Quote, "We've all been there, girl," one person said on the Facebook page. Hold on, another. Quote, "I have also begun to breathe heavily after eating an entire cake by myself. Maybe not Costco, but it definitely happened more than once. I get it, girl. I get it," another commenter said. So this possum, just jumped up on the patio and was just like,
"Well, that cake is mine.
This for me?" And sure enough, it was. Shout out to the Cake Bandit Possum in Omaha, Nebraska. This week's Texas Football Today Listener of the Week.
Rightfully so.
Congratulations.
I like that she had to like have a moment after annihilating the cake.
Yeah, like
she was admiring her work.
We've all been there. We've all had the food coma. Mm-hmm. Okay,
the itis.
The itis. Yes,
that's a classic case of the itis.
We've all had the itis. We've all eaten too much, and then we're just like, I just need you to give me a minute. Like, we've all been there, mm-hmm. right? I don't know if I've ever done it with an entire chocolate cake. I know you haven't.
No.
Because you're sick.
Yeah, no, but like savory stuff.
Yeah.
Not sweets.
Like too many tacos.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, pizza buffet.
You,
Mexican food.
Like chips.
That's my kryptonite.
Chips and dip.
Yeah, I'm full before my meal gets out.
That's the problem. Yeah, like, you know the old phrase, like, don't get full on bread.
Yeah.
It's like, don't tell me what to do.
No, I'm absolutely going to get full on bread. If I have the opportunity to get full on bread, smash the button.
Tell you what. There's a lot of things I won't do. One thing I will do, I will ruin a meal on me.
Correct.
You know what I mean? I'll be like, I will spoil my dinner.
Yeah. But as I've come to find out in my, old age, that actually rocks, because then you basically get 2 meals for the price of one, because you take home your leftovers and get to eat them again for lunch or dinner or anything like that.
Let me tell you something. Spoiling your dinner, underrated.
It's genius.
Underrated. Like, they bring out the bread. My wife and I went to dinner on Thursday for Valentine's Day, because we ain't going on Friday. And they brought, like, the Italian restaurant we love, and they've got this, like, fresh baked bread. Mm-hmm. And, like, my wife is, of course, the smart one in the family, because we ate that bread. And then, like, they came and they brought our entrees. And she was like,
"Can I get a to-go box?
Can I have more of that bread?"
Yeah.
So sure enough, kept doubling up that bread.
Yeah. That's like Chili's. You always get the chips and salsa.
Oh, yeah.
So that way you can fill up on the chips and salsa, and then you get to take your triple dipper home.
Take half your triple dipper home. Yeah. Let me tell you something. Today, spoil your dinner. Just do it. Hit the Theme Expo. From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it is Texas Football Today, a show with parkas on. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, a magazine, TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us, whether you're watching us live at TexasFootball.com, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, all of those places, or you listen to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. Something on the channel. I don't know what that is. I'm sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. The Duchess of the Dorks, Mrs. 305, Mrs. 915. She's Ashley Pickle.
Hi, friends. Happy Monday.
Is it?
Yeah, I feel like it's a pretty big Monday in your household, but I'll let you get to that in a second.
Let's get to that. Today is Monday, February 17th, 2025. It is a mere 283 days till Thanksgiving. Happy birthday to 3 very important people in my life. 3 very important people. Happy birthday to my wife.
Happy birthday, Jen.
She turns an age today. I will just tell you, like I've said this before, and I've shown you. You've seen photos like of our wedding and stuff like that. When we've been married, it'll be 13 years in July. We've been married 12 years. She looks exactly the same.
Yeah, she does. She's not aged at all. It's
kind of shocking.
Yeah.
Like, the more I think about it, the more I'm just like, how'd you do that?
Yeah. Yeah, I need to get, like, her skincare routine.
Anyway, happy birthday, honey. It's also the birthday of Michael Jordan.
Oh, wow.
And it's also the birthday of Larry the Cable Guy.
Okay.
So, 3 very important people.
That's a big deal.
I want you to think about it.
Holy cow.
My wife.
I can't tell the difference between any of them, to be honest.
The star of Space Jam and the spiritual star of Cars.
Tomater.
All 3 born
big tomater
today.
Gal.
February 17th, big day. I think we can all agree.
Day.
It's episode 1836. On today's show, folks, we have got some headlines from across the state, including some coaching changes. And is a state championship one-school town about to get a new school? We'll talk about that. And back half of the show, we're going to be joined by Greg Powers, our director of recruiting for This Week in Cruton, talking all things Big Crute and Little Crute, as they were very, very busy this week. By the way, speaking of which, we can save this for final thoughts if you want to talk about your time at the Hill Country Coaching Clinic.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, we had a great time.
We'll do that. That's a horizontal tease is what we'll talk about, or vertical tease. It's vertical tease. Stick tuned for the end of the show to hear all about WTF's trip to the Hill Country Coaching Clinic. So we'll get into all of that coming up here in a little bit. Do we have first 4 through the door?
We sure do. It was jersey number 69,
nice.
Loudgood, Ed McElroy, and Trisha Pickle.
Speaking of birthday girls.
Yeah. Yeah, we were able to go celebrate with her on Thursday. Her birthday was Tuesday, but we got to celebrate with her on Thursday, which was fun.
That is fun. Anyway, I think I told you this. Her dad, my dad, and your mom have the same birthday.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, so
does my nail lady, Miss Tina.
Boy, another trifecta.
Trio that
another
you,
trifecta
that you
there.
didn't know you
My
needed.
dad, your mom, and Miss Tina.
Let's go.
Absolutely. All right, let's get to some headlines from across the state of Texas. And we are going to start with what may in fact be a very classic Texas high school football story. Not necessarily in a good way, but definitely in a Texas way.
It's giving Friday Night Lights drama.
Let's talk about Brownwood and what's going on in Brownwood. Of course, Brownwood, one of the most iconic Texas high school football programs, a program where Gordon Wood is sacrosanct. The stadium's named after him. Brownwood on the very short list of the most iconic Texas high school football programs, and the gentleman at the helm of the Lions over the past few years has been our friend Sammy Burnett. We know Sammy Burnett; we're a good dude. We always enjoy our conversations with him. And Coach Burnett, this is he's always said that this is a real dream job for him. Coach Burnett has been there since. When did you get there, Coach Burnett? He got there in 2018, so he's been there since 2018. There at Burnett, he's a Brownwood guy, and it is a big deal for him to be the head coach there at Brownwood. And so you will have to imagine the surprise of many people around the state of Texas when a school board meeting happened last week, and the school board voted not to extend Sammy Burnett's contract. They voted, the board, a BISD board of trustees voted 4-3 against extending his contract. Now, here's what that means. That doesn't mean that he's out of a job. He has a contract that goes through next season, through the 2025-2026 season. However, normally what happens is, you see this with the Dallas Cowboys a lot, and in the NFL, nobody coaches on their last year of a contract, right? Normally, we're getting up to the last year of the contract, the idea of an extension comes up. So Brownwood ISD comes out and says, or the Board of Trustees says, no, we are not going to extend your contract. Now, there is a lot of wide-ranging kind of implications behind this. Does this cause Sammy Burnett to start looking for jobs? What have you? I will say that you look at some of the quotes coming from some people, and plain and simple, I don't think I'm speaking out of school when I say that I think that Sammy Burnett is a man of more or less impeccable character. This is not a character issue. There were some quotes coming from some of the people who voted against him that said that plain and simple, the football's not good enough. Mm-hmm. It's plain and simple. I'm trying our website is running slow, which is probably not something I should admit on the air, but I'm trying to pull it up. But there was a quote from them from one of the trustees that said, "Hey, listen, plain and simple, the football has not been up to Brownwood standards." This is from a BISD trustee, Amory Dormius. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. Quote, being a Brownwood alum and coming into this program, I had really high expectations. Just from what I'm seeing, I think Sammy's an amazing person. I think he's a great guy. I think he does so much for those boys and is such a good leader in the way he speaks with them. But when it comes to coaching, it's been talked about within the community and with the parents of kids who are in school, we're living it day to day. Another gentleman named Mark Followell, not the Mavericks announcer, announced,
you don't know that.
addressed the board in opposition to extending Burnett and said that they have such a rich and storied history, quote, but recently we have observed a troubling trend, a lack of motivation and drive in our community support for our teams. When there's a lack of accountability, we risk fostering an environment where mediocrity becomes the norm rather than the exception.
Are these unrealistic expectations right now? Or maybe some being stuck in the golden days of this? Because when is the last time that Brownwood really, really made a lot of noise? So
that's the funny thing about it, is that I think Sammy Burnett's been a pretty darn good coach there. He's 51-31 overall, okay? He's had 3 10-win seasons. Back in 2023, 2 years ago, Brownwood was in the regional final.
Yeah. Like this.
So, respectfully to our friends in Brownwood, I don't know what you're talking about.
To me, this feels like prior to like this year when Texas kind of got to claim the Texas is back thing. This feels a lot like a Texas A&M, Texas University like prestige thing of, yes, we were really good for a while, but it's like, what have you done in recency bias to prove that this is a thing that needs to go, and it's not up to the what is the Brownwood standard
in 2023? In 2023, right? What? 18 months ago? They were in a regional final and lost to Decatur by 3. What are we talking about here? If you like, here's the thing. If you don't like the guy, or you think that, quote unquote, we can do better, then say it with your chest.
Yeah.
Because right now, what this feels like is people in Brownwood are a little upset they went 6-5. By the way, they didn't go 2-8. They went 6-5. And some people in Brownwood are a little upset that that's not up to their standard when they are 18 months removed from being in the final 8 in the state.
It's wild. It's really wild.
So, respectfully, to the folks at Brownwood, figure it out. This is ridiculous, in my humble opinion. On to the next one. Some coaching news across the state of Texas. Actual coaching news. We broke this late last week. Burleson Centennial is looking for a head coach. It's the first time they've ever been looking for a head coach in Texas high school football in their history, because Kyle Geller has been the head coach since their inception in 2012. Well, Kyle Geller is moving into Burleson ISD administration, which leaves open the Burleson Centennial coaching job. And did a fantastic job, 91-58 during his time in 13 seasons, kind of launching that program. He went to the playoffs 11 of their 13 seasons. Back in 2022, they went all the way to the regional final with a 12-2 mark. This is really interesting. This is a highly coveted job, I think. Burleson Centennial is a big-time program, and Kyle Geller helped to get it there. So I would expect that there's going to be a healthy application process there. Our sources tell us that they are targeting kind of early March to get this thing settled, so this thing may move pretty quickly. But Burleson Centennial is open. Kyle Geller moving into administration role. Let's talk about Frisco Heritage. Frisco Heritage has a new head coach, and it is a name that we know fairly well. John Fish is going to be the next head coach there at Frisco Heritage. He is leaving Woodrow Wilson to become the next head coach there. He will be approved, or rather, he was approved back last week. He's a guy who's out of Oklahoma. He made his name where he was before he was at Woodrow Wilson and bounced around a few different places. I believe he was at
Lone Star.
Bonham. He was at Lone Star. He was one of their. He was their offensive coordinator there for Jeff Rayburn and company before he got a head coaching job at Bonham. Bounced around a little bit. Went to Woodrow Wilson. Did great things at Woodrow Wilson. One of the things about that, because of the rise of South Oak Cliff, Dallas ISD has kind of been like South Oak Cliff and everyone else. There's a real argument to be made that Woodrow Wilson has been the second best program in DISD since he's been there. So he's taken over there at Frisco Heritage, which has been looking for a head coach since Kenneth Gilchrist became the head coach there at the new Prosper School, Prosper Richland, which is going to be very confusing for me. I'm just letting you know. So that is the latest there, as John Fish, the new head coach there at Frisco Heritage. Let's go to Bryan. Talk about Brazos Christian, because this is we don't necessarily hit on every private school coaching change, but this is a pretty big one. Corey Washington, who's a member of the Dave Campbell's Texas Football 40 under 40 back in 2023 and was the TAPS Division IV Coach of the Year last year, is leaving Bryan Brazos Christian to become the defensive coordinator at McMurray. He's going up to the college ranks. He's making that leap from what is pretty small private school job. Like TAPS Division IV is small private schools. To go from there to becoming a college defensive coordinator is pretty remarkable. Corey Washington is leaving Bryan Brazos Christian, a 40 under 40 member, to become the new defensive coordinator for the Warhawks there at McMurray. That's certainly very interesting. All right. Another big one, we might touch on this with Greg Powers, our director of recruiting, coming up here on This Week in Recruiting in just a moment. But Ethan Feaster, Booby Feaster, the star wide receiver for DeSoto, a guy who was really burst on the scene as a freshman back in 2023, then had another strong year in 2024 as a receiver for this for the loaded DeSoto team. He has reclassified, and he will be playing his senior season this year. He has moved from the class of 2027 up to the class of 2026. This is what we're going to call the old Quinn Ewers.
Yeah.
If you remember when he did that, he was the number one, or arguably the number one quarterback in his class. He reclassified to the class before that and enrolled early at Ohio State. Obviously, this is a guy in Booby Feaster who's got offers out the wazoo, but he is going to be playing his senior season this year at DeSoto as Booby Feaster has reclassified there at DeSoto. And finally, let's talk about about a defending state champ, and that is the Celina Bobcats. Celina having a great time right now, right? Defending champs. They got the star quarterback, Bo Bentley, coming back. Things are good in Celina. And they say you should strike where the iron is hot. I'm just saying, like, okay, when I put the summer magazine to bed, when we put the summer magazine to bed, right, or when you, Pickle, you have a really big win with Texan Live, right, that's the time to go ask for a raise, right?
Correct.
Celina ISD is putting on up for a bond proposal in May 2025.
This is a shocking number.
A bond, we all are familiar with this. Just please vote, and we'll take this money out of your taxes and do stuff with it, but you have to approve it. A $2.3 billion bond.
That's billion with a B. Not M.
To
B.
fund new campuses, land, and buses, potentially, including they would build 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 new elementary schools, 2 new middle schools, and perhaps most notably, a new high school.
What we're saying is,
Celina,
don't move to Celina.
So that's what we're saying. Celina's wonderful. But Celina is looking to build a new high school, and that would be obviously very big as well. It is a shocking number. Now, Celina is growing like a weed. If you're unfamiliar with it, this is a community where it is exploding right now, and there are the proposal says that population projections would place that Celina would have almost 24,000 total students by the 2033 school year. The U.S. Census Bureau in May said that Celina was the fastest growing city in the country. Okay? It's exploding out there, and they're trying to get ahead of it. The headline is shocking, right? $2.3 billion. But I think what they're saying, I don't want to speak for the people who are putting this bond up. This strikes me as the kind of thing of, we're going to just try to pass one big bill instead of try to do a bunch of things. Which
makes sense.
Because what ends up happening, there's 2 models to it, right? There's the Celina model, which is, please give us an enormous pot of money once. Or there's the Frisco model, where Frisco, it seems like every year, every other year,
is going to ask for a new high school.
They're going to the voters and saying, could you bond this high school? Could you bond this new high school?
Yeah, they've done it about 14 times now.
Correct. This happens, Lamar Consolidated ISD, this is happening. All these places, Katy ISD, all these
Alvin.
places, Alvin, all these places with this exploding growth. Celina's just going to go for it, like full send. And I got to say, if you're going to do it, right on the heels of winning a state championship, probably the right time to do it. Community pride is at an all-time high in Celina.
Well, and you can't deny the fact that the area is growing like
absolutely.
crazy. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, there's a lot of e-commerce that goes back into all of that. But yeah, the billion was a shocking amount.
$2.3 billion is what they're asking. But certainly, it would be very interesting to see what happens to Celina Of course, a perennial power in Texas high school football. Should they split? And it's very, very interesting. Keep an eye on that. But Celina, that bond is coming up in May there in Celina, Texas. That is the latest headlines.
Some wild headlines.
We're at Texas Football Today. We're here Mondays and Thursdays on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbells. But also Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbells. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Hey, it's my wife's birthday. And I talked to her this morning, and I said, honey, it's your birthday. Like, what would you like? What would you like for your birthday?
I know exactly what she said.
And she turned to me and she said, Gregory, the only thing that I want for my birthday is for people to subscribe to Dave Campbell's Texas Football at TexasFootball.com/subscribe. Now, is that a fake story? Maybe. But spiritually, it rings true.
Yes.
TexasFootball.com.
She would like that.
She would like that. TexasFootball.com/subscribe to become Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber. If you want to watch playoff basketball like tonight,
mm-hmm.
You can go to TexanLive.com, our streaming platform, as part of your Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscription. You also get the 2025 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football mailed to you before it hits newsstands. You can get all of that, a year's of extra content on TexasFootball.com if you go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe. Makes a great gift. Get it for my wife's birthday. TexasFootball.com/subscribe. Coming up here in just a moment, Greg Powers is going to rap with us about all things recruiting. But first, a word from these valued partners.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Potter, Executive Director of Be Well Texas. Too many people are struggling alone these days, and alcohol and drug deaths are increasing. We started Be Well Texas to offer high-quality, science-based addiction treatment and recovery services anywhere, even at home. We provide compassionate, caring support virtually or in person. In many cases, there is no cost for treatment if you don't have insurance. Really. Welcome to Be Well Texas. We're glad you're here.
30-yard line, the 20, the 10, touchdown!
Hey DFW residents, get your grocery essentials in minutes, not hours or days, with Wing Drone Delivery. Forget about last-minute trips to the store when you need things like cereal for breakfast before school, medicine for a cold, or snacks for a movie night. Wings drones get you quick, no-contact delivery in as fast as 15 minutes. Say goodbye to last-minute grocery runs and say hello to more of your valuable time. Sign up today.
Back here on Texas Football Today, I'm Greg, that's Ashley. We're celebrating Michael Jordan's birthday here. Many people refer to him as the GOAT,
Yeah.
right?
I think you can have a healthy argument about that.
Absolutely. Another person you can have a healthy argument about whether or not he's the GOAT.
No, this one's decided. There's no argument.
It's Greg Powers, our director of recruiting here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football, all bundled up.
What's up?
Hey, bud.
It's cold in here.
It is cold.
It's chilly office day today.
It is a chilly office day. Hi.
What's up?
Thanks for coming by.
Yeah.
And I know it's part of your contract and stuff. But
Yeah, I guess I have to be here on Monday.
I guess that's true. You do have to be here on Mondays. And while we're here on a Monday, we might as well say, I'm Greg Tepper. That's Greg Powers. This is This Week in Cruton. This Week in Recruiting. Greg Powers, our director of recruiting here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Follow him on Twitter at GPowersScouts. He's fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. And, of course, this is brought to you by our good chicken friends at Chicken Express. Chicken Express, the temperature is dropping.
Hey,
But you know what's on the way up? Chicken Express.
gravy.
Dude, yeah, we need some yellow boxes of warmth in this office right now.
The
Yeah.
colder it gets, the more valuable the gravy gets.
That's true.
It's very true. That's such a great point. Because I'll admit, when I've got the tendies, I'm a ranch guy.
Okay.
I don't need to tell this to Pickle.
Correct.
I'm a ranch guy, and there is something very nice about the contrast of the warm tendy in the cool ranch. But I will tell you also,
Cool Ranch from a temperature perspective,
Cool
or
Ra- yeah,
Cool
yeah.
Ranch from a flavor
Cool
perspective?
Ranch from the temperature.
Okay.
They're not like Doritos, although Chicken
They do
Express.
have Ken's Ranch.
Yeah, that's very good. But I will say that there is also something when it's cold outside. Dip that tendy, a little extra warmth.
Well, and the other side of it too is their gravy doesn't like cool down. You know what I'm saying? Like it
No.
stays hot, which is good.
Very
It's
yeah.
that styrofoam.
That styrofoam container.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
like
because sometimes gravy can get cold and then it's not really good.
Yeah, it's a good
but
point.
I agree.
theirs holds temperature really well.
absolutely.
There's nothing not to love about Chicken Express. I can tell you that.
Let's get to that's some hot chicken takes. Let's get some hot recruiting conversation.
go.
It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers. We are going to start with our prospect on the rise. Our prospect on the rise, we're going to Hazlitt Eaton to talk about their senior edge rusher Elijah Lash, who is now a DCTF 3-star. Picked up some offers from in-state powers like North Texas, Texas Tech, Houston, and UTSA, plus Coastal Carolina and UNLV. This was a guy who was at the Under Armour next camp in Dallas and put on a show while he was there.
Yeah, no doubt about it. He is going to be an edge rushing force. Already is. He played more defensive end. I was thinking he's a hybrid outside linebacker, defensive end, so I guess we'll call him an edge for right now. But he's a guy who can pin his ears back and just flat out get after the quarterback. And he was given some of the top offensive tackles fits in the camp setting yesterday at the Under Armour camp. And you'll see a theme here with the notebook today, because we were at the Under Armour camp. A lot of the players or actually all the players that got honors in this week's recruiting notebook were at the UA camp. Mm-hmm. And Lash was one of those guys who I felt like came into the camp a little bit under the radar. After watching him there, I think that he's one of these kids who could pick up 15, 20 offers. I think throughout the spring evaluation period, as more colleges get a chance to look at him, he's going to continue to rack up interest.
He is a big name there at a relatively new school there in Northwest ISD, Hazlitt Eaton, but a big-time playmaker who impressed at the camp this week. Keep an eye on him, Elijah Lash, the edge rusher from Hazlitt Eaton. Let's get to our commit of the week. Our commit of the week, we're going to Louisville to talk about their 2026 defensive tackle, Xavier Fleming. Call him Zay, and he committed this week to Houston. As the interior defensive lineman, 6 foot, 280 pounds. He had offers from places like North Texas, UTEP, and UTSA, plus Oregon State. But on Sunday, he put on a big show, and now it's got to be getting Houston fans really excited about what he's bringing to Southeast Texas.
And to dial Houston fans in, Fleming plays in what I consider one of the most competitive districts in all of Texas high school football, at least as it relates to prospects. He's going to be tested week in and week out, and to me, he is one of the true sleepers in Texas high school football, because Fleming is one of those guys who's a game changer. Anytime you watched Louisville's defense or their tape, you had to account for Xavier Fleming. The game that I went to and watched him in person last year is when they played Denton Geyer, and Fleming had a pick 6 that he returned up the sidelines. And then I was further in awe whenever I saw him jump out and get some wide receiver reps at 6 foot 280. So
Heck yeah.
Fleming's a big boy, but he's extremely athletic, sneaky athletic. This is a big get for Houston, and I think that he's a kid who has a high upside. He might just be a little bit under height-wise. He's like that 5'11", 6 foot range that kept him slightly under the radar, but dude can go.
Yeah, there he is throwing a block on an offensive formation, just kind of lining him up kind of at the H-back there, and there he is playing left tackle. So they are moving him around, especially on the defensive line, but he is a guy who will get after it most certainly. The newest Houston Cougar commit, Xavier Fleming, the defensive tackle from Louisville. It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, our director of recruiting here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Get involved in the conversation at #TF Today. Let's round it all out with our Underclassmen of the Week. Our Underclassmen of the Week. Staying in the DFW Metroplex because of the UA camp here. It is 2027 defensive back John Meredith III out of Euless Trinity. And he was invited to the All-America game after a really strong performance here. He's not alone in getting invited to the Under Armour All-American game, but he was a guy who really stood out at this camp.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Long and rangy. Meredith is one of those new age defensive backs who could really do it all in the secondary. I could see him easily playing safety, but I love his size at corner. He moves extremely well, so he's not a liability in coverage whatsoever. And because he can pretty much do anything back there in the secondary. He's been rewarded with a ton of top-tier scholarship offers. As a matter of fact, heading into this spring evaluation period, I guess really January is now a evaluation period for us in Texas. There were so many coaches coming through the Lone Star State in January, and he got offers from schools like Texas, Texas A&M, LSU, Oklahoma, Oregon, and more. But you can see that his list is going to be national level. And joining him on that UA game list now, these guys are going to be able to play in this year's game because they allow underclassmen. So these are the underclassmen that will participate in the 2026 Under Armour game. Zane Rowe from Denton Geyer, who really, really passed the eyeball test, and the son of Jason Witten at Argyle Liberty, Christian Cooper Witten, also was invited to the UA game. So a few guys in that 2027 class picked up some big invites at the camp yesterday.
It was a big week there at the Under Armour Next Camp here in Dallas, and the DFW stars were out and showing out. One guy who's always showing out, Greg Powers, our director of recruiting here, Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Follow him on Twitter at GPowersScouts. He has fine work at texasfootball.com/recruiting. Thanks, Powers.
Appreciate that, man.
Let's go over to Ashley Pickle for America's second favorite segment, Final Thoughts. You want to tell us about your weekend?
Oh, yeah, I definitely can. We were able to go down to the Hill Country Coaching Clinic, myself, Mallory, and VNA, and we had a great time. It's kind of like a family reunion for us down there at this point of being able to see all of the clinic directors and everybody who was in attendance. Really, really good crowd of people this year from both the husbands and wives' perspective. So if you haven't ever gone down there, it's always a really fun time, and it's cool because it's the only clinic that also has a full schedule of things to do for the wives.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, it is not an accident that it happens on Valentine's weekend.
100%. Yeah, that's the whole point. It's the only clinic that, like, not the only clinic that you can take your wife to, but there's stuff for them to actually do, and it being in Fredericksburg opens up a lot of opportunities for all the wives to get together, and there's a ton of events and local sponsors that come out. A lot of the small business, it's really cool. A lot of the small business will donate a bunch of coupons for like shopping and different stuff like that. So if you're a coach and you're looking for a reason to get some work done and let your wife enjoy a weekend in Fredericksburg, like it's the perfect way to do it. But we're always so appreciative that they let WTF come out there and hang out with the wives and all of that. So really, really, really fun time.
Yeah, so what'd you guys do?
We spent the first part of Friday at the clinic. Mallory was talking to some coaches from a recruiting perspective, had a really good conversation with Jerry Stanford from Texas High about their recruits. So we spent the first half of the day with the guys at the actual coaching clinic, and then went over to the wives portion. They kind of have their own little intro thing. Got to meet up with our friends Courtney Cluley and Coach Cluley from Mount Pleasant. They have their small business, Happy Heart trucking hat company, and so we got to make some trucker hats and get there and hang out with the wives. You get to go out and eat that night, and then there is a social that evening where the wives are the only ones that can win the raffle prizes, so that's always a blast to get to hang out with everybody. And then Saturday more of kind of the same, so it was a lot of fun.
Who had more fun?
Who had
the coaches or the wives?
Oh, the wives, absolutely.
Okay.
It's a blast. It is so fun.
I thought you were going to ask who had more fun from our.
Yeah, who in WTF had the most fun in Fredericksburg?
I think we all did. That was VNA's.
Not an answer.
That was VNA's first time there, so I know that she
she
really enjoyed. Not that Mallory and I don't. We obviously love going. But it's fun to bring a person that had never been before. So yeah, no, it was a ton of fun.
Good.
Ate at Mama Sita's.
Nice.
It was all good.
Very cool. Tell me about Booby Feaster. Let me just hard transition because I forgot to ask you about this. Tell me about Booby Feaster reclassifying and what that does for like kind of the general shape of recruiting the next couple of years.
So first and foremost, I think it shapes the wide receiver picture the most in the class of 2026 because you're adding another name, and that's going to have to create a spot. As far as like his rankings and stuff are concerned, I think more specifically to recruiting, that's what I'm going to have to figure out where he fits in now with the class of 2026.
Because it's interesting because I presume you had a decent feel on where he fits in 2027. And now you kind of have to, I don't want to say go back to the drawing board, but you have to go back and kind of, not reevaluate's too strong, but like you have to take a look and be thoughtful about the way that where he fits in this new class, right?
Well, we had already rated him as a 5-star in the class of 2027, so I felt like he would be one of the top 5 recruits in that class. And I still feel really good about that for 2027. Now, as he goes to 2026, where does he fit in with the guys that have an extra year of experience versus him? Because the tapes that you're now judging his against, it's his sophomore tape versus their junior tape.
Right.
And junior tape is usually
better.
A lot better than
junior tape's usually
tape.
what you get recruited off of, basically.
Right.
You know what I mean? Obviously, he's been a star since he was a freshman, but still. Fascinating stuff. We're calling it the Quinn Ewers move.
Yeah, and Max Granville did it last year.
Max Granville did it.
Went a year early to Penn State, and I think that's really going to benefit him because Abdul Carter's gone on to the league, and Penn State's going to be looking to replace him in their lineup. And I think that now Max has a chance to be that guy that he's got a head start. But Feaster looked the part of the UA game. Like, Feaster passes the eyeball test. He's exactly what you think he is as a prospect. To me, I make the case, too, people were down on his numbers. I always combat that with he put up better numbers as a sophomore in less games than he did as a freshman. And I don't think it was a sophomore slump. I saw him as improving. So I'm kind of bullish on where he's rated as a prospect, and we'll just have to see where that now fits in with the big picture of 2026. That's the biggest question for me, is how does he fit in? And I'm going to say this one more thing. Do you reclassify if you don't have a good idea of where you're going?
True enough, right. That's the thing. Is like that, to me, that signals that he's got at least a pretty strong lean towards.
There's got to have a spot for him,
Right.
right? And you're not going to be able to communicate with 50 programs about that. So there are definitely 1 or 2 programs out there, in my opinion, that have a spot for Feaster now that he's reclassified, and those are the programs that I'm probably going to watch the closest in his recruitment now.
Drama. I love it. Thanks, Powers.
Yep.
That's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Thanks again to Greg Powers for being our guest. Thanks, dude.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thanks, Greg.
Just thanks for being you.
Thanks for thanking me.
For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Temmer, Vince Young. Please meet your player of your trophy. We will see you Thursday on Texas Football Today.